I'm the lead maintainer of Latterly.io. Caffeine gummy locked and loaded. And today we're going to make better checklists. So here's production. If you land at Latterly, which is a platform that helps you learn to code, grow your social and professional networks, and land your first or next programming role, scales from early career to staff plus. When you land here, one of the main value props is this standard checklist. And that's been a hallmark of Latterly for a long time, up until about last month. So last month, really started pushing the career journal, and I've gotten a lot of interest in this career journal. I won't be talking about journaling here, but it's an evidence-based practice that can improve your career acceleration while also improving your mental health at the same time. You can do both. You don't need to be trading mental health for career progress. You can do both. And there's research from Harvard and others. You can check out the progress principle from Harvard researchers, which basically shows that journaling can help you progress and improve your mental health. Okay, but there's a whole bunch of other research. It's not like this one book. I like to plug them because they're from Harvard. So the career journal is really cool. I hope you'll check it out. But the issue, you can see this is now the default homepage when you're logged in. And I did that in response to a pain point where previously this was seen as kind of like a low utility page when you log in. And so I said, well, let's default to the new shiny thing. And the new shiny thing was the career journal. This new logged in homepage creates a pain point. Actually, I would call it a bug. So I created a GitHub issue 541, which is labeled as a bug. It makes the checklist inaccessible. So I need to fix that. So that's what this current pull request does. But while I'm fixing it, let's go ahead and make it better. Let's go ahead and make it better. So the way it works is like this. We'll log in. Now we'll go over to localhost. Well, I guess I don't have my localhost quite ready. So I'll just keep giving you the background. We'll sign in. And I want to do two things. One, under this Grow tab, I want to include an explicit checklists button, which will take you to a directory page of all the checklists. And you might be able to route, you can get there by manual route manipulation right now, but there's not like a link in the nav, which is kind of ridiculous. So we'll improve that user experience. Then we'll also improve the blog article, which talks about the benefits of free membership. It mentions the checklist, but there's no link. So I want to link this so that it will link you into the basic checklist. And then I want to further enhance these checklists in two ways. One, if you are non-premium, basically I don't want to show all these checklists. You see Python checklist is here twice, but it's in a draft state. It's not actually ready to ship. By the way, drop a comment if you would like a Python checklist and what you would like to see in there. One of the reasons that it's not yet ready to ship is because Python is so diverse. So what should we focus on? Fast API, Pandas, NumPy, the data engineering side, the data analytics side, the data science side, Scikit. You know, there's so many directions it could go, and I just haven't been happy with it yet, so I just haven't shipped it. So since I haven't shipped it, it shouldn't show on this page. So I need to enhance our data model to have a publication date on the checklist, and if that column is null, then I won't render it on this list. So then the checklists will only show you the ones that are relevant to you. And then finally, I want to improve the style here and allow you to click. So embarrassingly, clicking these line items does not navigate you to the checklist. Once that is all implemented, the current approach becomes obsolete. So the current approach is the pretty route. My basic checklist is this pretty route. If we are going for the directory and then you click on one, I will change the routing so that it will say the checklist ID, which makes this pretty route obsolete. So those are the tasks that I want to encapsulate under this 541. And the pull request is already in progress. I don't expect that to be done today. Today, this stream will be about 30 minutes. We will make some progress, but I doubt it will be done. So let's kick off. We'll open up Cursor. I initialized this branch on a different computer, on my Mac computer. We're now on my Windows machine where I stream from. And so we're going to pull it over. You see we get initialized into PowerShell. Isn't that wonderful? That would be sarcastic. I don't encourage PowerShell for development. So we go over into Git Bash. CD laterally, I want to get fetch origin, and then I'll put the branch name. Okay. Then I want to check it out. Then I want to reset hard. Just for safety, this may not be necessary, but I'll reset hard on the tip of tree in the branch. So this is a feature branch pattern, and that will put us at the latest commit here, better checklists. I can confirm that if I'm kind of anxious. You see right here, better checklists, but I can double confirm that, git log -1. We are at better checklists. Great. So now I should be ready to go. Let me npm run dev. Well, first I'll need to npx Prisma generate because I changed the type definition in the pull request. I'm surprised that I need to do that, but we'll go for that. That's fine. Yeah, I'm surprised that I needed to do that. Let's npm run dev and see what happens. Oh, it's because I'm in the wrong directory. Okay, I want to cd into laterally IO. So it's a monorepo with multiple directories in the top level, and the application is actually in this laterally IO. Okay, now I should be able to npx Prisma generate. Great, that worked, and now I can npm run dev. So this is going to be a Next.js web application. Welcome in, chat. We're getting started. Feel free to drop some likes on the video or your questions and comments, and we can deal with those as we go along. No need to wait to the end today. All right, so we have the Next server kicked off. We're using version 14. Laterally is fully open source. If you'd like to upgrade us to, I think, Next.js latest version. What's the latest version? Oh. So found it. Yeah. So 15 is available now. So if you want to do that upgrade, that commit is welcome. And so let's go over to localhost. Okay. I'm already logged in, and now I'll go over to the blog. And what I'd like to demonstrate is the link is already done. Oop, wrong article. Benefits of free membership, standard checklist. And you know what? Now that I'm doing this, I realize that I want to retain that pretty URL because it's a stable link in the blog. So should we have two pointers effectively to the same, oh, and you can see also I have this back to checklists and I have this improved UI. And now I can click forward, I think, to checklists. But when I click forward, you can see we're in a work in progress state. It's not done. So this is a different UI, but somehow I would like it to reflect the same data. So I could just forward the URL. I think what I'd like to do is update the schema to support pretty URLs from this page. I'm also noticing that as I hover, I expect in the lower left to see an anchor, and I'm not seeing that. Why am I not seeing that? That's interesting. Okay, I think that's minor, but that is a bit interesting to me because I expect to see the href in the lower left of the page. Oh, it could just be my browser expansion. Let's see. Yeah, okay, so it's getting covered up by my Windows toolbar. I keep disabling the Windows toolbar, but it keeps coming back. All right. Okay. So let's go to my schema. Laterally IO, we'll fuzzy type, that's the directory name, Prisma schema, here it is. And you can see public data, model is checklist, published at. Published at is a new field that I recently added to support what I told you earlier, that I only want to show some of the checklists. You can see I don't have two Python checklists, which are two different versions. I only have the one, because it's marked explicitly in the database as published. So I think what I want to do further here is have a pretty route. So instead of checklists 5, this can go to checklists / my basic checklist. Okay, so here, pretty route. We'll default it to, let's actually make it optional. So if the pretty route is unavailable, then you want to come say hi? Come here. This is Ellie. Say hi. Okay, see you later.
I just want to ask you,
can you have a cookie? Ask your mom. Bye. Love you too. Okay, so with this pretty route, if it's there, we'll use it. If it's not there, we'll continue currently by the ID route. And then I think that also handles forwarding, because if you land here, then I can detect if this checklist has a pretty route and I can forward you there. And so if you land here, forward you here, good. Then that seems to solve the things. And do they point to the same data anyway? What if I check this? And then I refresh, it persists. Yep, so persistence is good to go. And if I go over by ID, so they are linked on the database level. It's just that they're different pages, causing the misrendering. Now, one of the key items on the misrendering here, you can see I have an I, social networking. This is displayed properly, where on the new page, it's not displayed properly. That link should be interpolated. So we'll improve this. Those are two different items of scope that we'll touch on. So to start with, let's make this pretty route thing supported. Okay, so I created this new optional string. I'm going to npx Prisma DB push. And here I will npx Prisma generate. So what did I just do? What I just did is all of my existing checklists were given a pretty route column in Supabase. And the default value is null or empty. And then I regenerated my types so that my type definitions from Prisma are aware that there's this additional property, which is an optional string. So now I'll rerun my server. Notably, I have on my other screen my Supabase database, and I need to update that column for the case of the programming job checklist, which is arguably poorly named anyway. But this is like the standard checklist. In fact, I think I'll rename it while I'm at it. So let me go open up Supabase on my other page here. Go over to the checklist. This is what it looks like. Okay. And I'm going to change the name. Programming job checklist. I'll call this standard checklist. Okay, so we'll change that name. Let's go over to the published at. Oh, I did the wrong one. Okay, so I'll revert the name here. And I'm doing this all in production, which is terribly unsafe. You should have a local Supabase or a staging environment running. So this will be called standard checklist. Actually, I guess I'll update the name on both of them since they reflect the same concept, right? They are two different versions of the same checklist, and one is published and one is not. Okay, so this one's published. And so the pretty route will be checklists / my, what is it? I think it's my basic checklist, yeah. And I'm including the path here deliberately so that in the future, I might have base pages as the pretty route. Okay, so this is the published one, and then we'll save that value as well. Okay, so now I have these pretty routes. Good. So when I refresh the page, I should see a name change reflected. Ooh, I need like a loading. I need it like a loading state there. That was not really great. But anyway, here's the standard checklist. Okay. Now you can see it's still pointing to the ID based route. And I want it to point to the pretty route. So let's implement that logic. First, I'm going to commit this schema change by itself. So this will be a feature pretty checklist route in DB. Lots of small commits is the way to go. Okay. That is pages slash checklists, or sorry, checklist slash pages. And you can see I fuzzy typed it. That's Command Shift P to search across the repo. So this is the page. Career Growth Checklist, your comprehensive guides navigating the tech industry. That's the subtitle there. You see, this is where the page content is coming from. TSX, that's React with TypeScript. So it's TypeScript in, it's HTML out. That's what's taken care of by the Next.js and React compilers. It's compiled into HTML. So what I'd like to do here is alter inside of this checklists list. You can see the view checklist content 1, 2, 3, 4 of these. So it's a for loop over the list. Checklist.map, view checklist, that's where that's coming from. Now what I'd like to do is support the pretty route if it exists. So Cursor is giving me an improper recommendation here. I want to support an OR operations. So here's checklist.prettyroute or the checklist slash ID. Now I can calculate them separately. I'll actually calculate this earlier on. So here's the checklist. Yeah, this is a cleaner way to do it. So I think this works, although the type checker is mad at this. So I'll need to figure out how to satisfy the type checker. Yeah, okay, because it's type checking the href validity, it doesn't want me to mention the base route. So if I do it this way, it'll be happier, I think. No? String is not assignable to URL object or route implementation. Comes from href, which is declared here. So these route implementations are not generic enough, apparently. Cool. I think I can ask Cursor to work on this. The issue is that the type checker is not aware of all the values in my database, so it can't verify that it's a valid href. Does that make sense? So I think the solution here is going to be, let's see. If it was happy with this old way of doing things, it should be happy with the new way of doing things. So it was happy with this, right? So then it should also be happy with this. It's just saying that it's checklist slash something, and the type checker is aware that I have this ID directory name, which is a generic. So it allows whatever to go in there, some kind of ID. So it's also allowing this to go in there. For all it knows, it's an ID. But for some reason, it's not happy when I do this. So I need to do my own validation, basically. Hmm. If I could verify that it matches this pattern, yeah, that's basically the way to go. So if I have checklists that use base routes, I'll need to verify them one by one to satisfy the type checker. That doesn't exist today, so I think I can just ignore it for now. So here I'll say checklist route, and that will either be pretty route or the checklist ID. Okay, so the type checker is happy with this approach. And maybe I should call that sub route to be a little more correct. Okay, so now I need to go to my database and get rid of that checklists part, but that's okay. That's not a big deal. So instead of checklists slash my basic checklist in Supabase, it will just say my basic checklist on the route. All right. So I'm refreshing this page. And I can see in this case, checklist slash 3 is used, and in this case, checklist slash my basic checklist is used. So it's using the pretty route. No checklist found. It was not found. Let's see. My basic checklist. Interesting. Why is that not found? Oh, it's being intercepted now. Yeah. So I have this my basic checklist over here, but it's being intercepted by the ID catcher now, which is correct. Okay, so now whenever I catch it, I need to determine if it's pretty or not. And I can basically do that by detecting whether it's a numeric string or a non-numeric string. So if it's a numeric string, it's an ID, and if it's a non-numeric string, then it's a pretty route. Great. So that still allows me to consolidate these folders, which I'd like to do. So here I'll say feature use pretty route. And I'll open up these pages. So we're not going to use forwarding, we're just going to consolidate. That introduces a wrinkle because the premium checklist requires premium and the basic checklist doesn't. I think this is one that I want to toss over to Cursor. I should be able to handle it right here though. Yeah, I should be able to conditionally return the page wrapper with authentication and requires premium, or the page wrapper without requires premium. So I want to make sure my instructions to the AI are simple. First of all, I'm going to give it this boilerplate AI instructions. So here's my boilerplate Copilot instructions that I use that are tuned to this repository. And I want to say currently, and I'll reference this component by name. Generate metadata. Here's the checklist page. So I can reference it by name using async function checklist page. So I'll say currently, async function checklist page, notice I wrap it in the backticks to communicate that this is code, has two problems. One, checklists can have a pretty route like checklists, my basic checklist, which is not the checklist.id and is the checklist.pretty route. Let's do this one at a time. Has a problem. So we'll have it solving one problem at a time. Update the page to render checklists by pretty route when appropriate. Okay, so keeping your instructions simple for the LLM is critical to maintaining high performance in your language model. And one of the ways that we can do that is by asking it to solve one problem at a time, right? Not rocket science. So we can see it's going to check whether it's a checklist ID. It tries to parse the integer. If there's an integer, then it gets it by ID. If it's not a number, try to find it by pretty route. Great. If both cases fail, checklist not found, and so on. So this looks good to me. All right, let me refresh the page. And I expect this to be found, actually. So let's see if we can log and see what the issue here is. Get current user, so it's finding my user. But it is not finding the checklist. Let's see what the server logs say. See, the ID is being passed as the pretty route there. Yeah, that's right. So the param name will still be ID. I think that's kind of confusing. So I'm going to rename this ID or pretty route. Okay. Let's rename params.id to params.id or pretty route for clarity. I updated the Next.js folder name. I'll wait till this is done and then I'll restart the server. Okay. Okay, so there's an unexpected or invalid token in the layout. I think we need to split the server component. No? I'm not sure why that happened then. Okay, we'll call that a one-off. It's not coming back if I refresh. All right, so why is the checklist not found? Maybe we need to add some logging. So I'll stage this. Now close other files so I can focus on this file. get checklist for user. So I'll start by logging the checklist here. And I'll add a bunch of asterisks just to make it really obvious in my logs. Okay, so I don't see it on the front end. Is it on the back end here? No. Checklist not found. Why is the checklist not found? Let's make sure that we can parse the pretty route. I actually don't care about the generate metadata thing right now. I want to check it up here. Yeah. So as soon as we enter the page, we immediately try to see whether we can get that ID. And I'm not seeing it. This is pretty surprising. So I'll tell cursor, I do not see being printed. Why? Okay, it says it's because it's async. I'm still not seeing it. I still don't see the log, and the checklist is not being found. I'll put the 3 dashes to separate that stuff, to separate the logs from my human text, and then I'll say, maybe this is because the generate metadata is 404ing. Programming job checklist instead of our new get pretty route. I wonder why that's happening. Get latest by name. Oh, was it hard coded? So what's going on here? Previously, it was trying to find first with the pretty route. Previously, it was trying to find first with the pretty route. Well, that's wrong because we want the first one that's been published, not the first one. But now it's ordering by version descending. This is still wrong. Okay, so it's not aware of my schema. Find first by pretty route. And then it's getting the name. Do I have an out-of-date name in my database? Nope. I don't know where it's getting this programming job checklist thing from. Okay, it looks like it's using outdated information. All right, so there might be outdated information in the context window. That's okay. I don't think that impacts what I'd like it to do next. What I'd like it to do next is ensure that it's published. But this would be a smell that I might need to start a new chat if it's thinking about old data, basically. We should find where published at is populated and sort on that, not on version. The checklist schema is, and I'll just put the one Prisma schema. Instead of giving it the whole schema file, I'll just give it this one model. Okay, so now where the name is the pretty route, good. And published at is not null. Here I'm seeing it's doing the wrong thing for the checklist. If not found by pretty route, try to find by name. No, I don't want to do that. If not found by pretty route, try to find by name. I don't want this code block. Fix the other code block, which is ignoring. And see, this is where it's like I almost want to do it by hand at this point. But you see the problem, right? It's not checking when it's published. Okay, so this is a much thinner query, which I love. So we need to make sure that it's not null, and then we want to sort by descending, which will make the earliest one at the top, and we'll take the first in that case. Good, so that would be the latest one, assuming that one exists. Okay. So now I think the query is correct on the back end. So why do we still not see anything on the front end? And I have a theory here. My theory is that the ID or pretty route is including the substring checklists, which we don't want. So I want to log this thing basically. So how can I get my eyes on this? Because this one is not being logged. Ooh, so now it's saying that we're going over there. My basic checklist. Okay, so it is catching. It is catching. That's really curious why it caught in one case and it didn't catch in the other. Let's see if this works. Yeah, this works. Okay, well, we discovered the answer, although I don't have time to fix it now. So the answer is, I thought with this ID or pretty route, all my queries would flow through here, but it's actually catching on the old literal. So stay tuned for the next stream where we want to consolidate these files because I still want the style from this file, but I want the style from this file in my other